We're watching coverage of NBC News Boston affiliate WHDH on a developing news story out of that area. There are reports of explosions and gunfire in Watertown, Massachusetts. This after earlier reports of violence in nearby Cambridge, Massachusetts, where an MIT campus police officer was fatally shot this evening. NBC News' Carrie Sanders is live on the scene in Watertown with the very latest. Carrie, what can you tell us about what's happening there tonight?
Well, things have certainly calmed down for the moment. The anxiety that was quite high. Some of the officers are still pushing people out of the way, but the anxiety is relatively down. The officers gave chase from the MIT area over here. It's about a 15-minute drive if you were driving a normal speed to Watertown. Now, the witnesses over here in Watertown say that they heard three distinctive booms. And when I asked them, did they sound like gunshots, they were very certain to say they did not sound like gunshots, but rather sounded like booms. Now, we've been trying to piece together some of this. We believe that the officers may have taken one person into custody and that they were pursuing another person when those booms took place. That other person may or may not be in custody, but I would suggest by what I am viewing here right now that the other person is no longer in the area and likely in custody, simply because the officers have calmed this scene down. I have not seen this many police officers from this many different agencies in one location in a very long time in my career. You had a armored personnel carrier here. You had SWAT team members here. Just about every police officer who could get out of the MIT area over here left that area. In fact, the MIT area where the officer was shot and killed this morning has just a very small contingent of officers there. Officers rushed over here, sirens blazing. There are lots of people on the streets here, lots of people who live in the area who came out, who heard what was going on. I see if we can walk up to somebody who actually heard what was going on. Sir, were you here when this was happening? Okay. Well, give me a moment. There's obviously a lot of people have just come out here to sort of find out what's going on.
If I can interrupt you with a quick question. You know, all eyes were on the Boston area this week, of course, because of those tragic bombings at the marathon. Is there any indication now, especially as police now have identified a suspect, that any of this violence is connected to the Boston bombing case?
You know, that is the number one question, and we don't have an answer. We don't have an official answer, and we don't want to speculate. I will say, as a reporter who covers urban America, you don't hear about booms in our cities in America routinely. We had on Patriots Day, we had the explosions that took out, 176 people were wounded, and now we have this going on here. I know this young woman was here, so why don't you tell me what you heard as you were driving here?
I heard two loud booms, and then as I'm passing Tedeschi on Mount Auburn Street, I heard another boom, and then I seen at least 70 cruisers pass.
Okay, so when you heard those booms, what did you do? You were in your car?
Yeah, this is not safe, I need to head home.
And did those booms sound like, based on where I am, it's about 3 blocks from where the police are set up there? And you still had it.
Yeah.
Did you feel any sense of a concussion?
No. I was inside a car, so I didn't feel anything, but it was loud enough that I didn't think it was a gunshot. I thought it was an explosion, another bomb.
And you've heard gunshots before to know the difference?
Yeah, I would know the difference. I've heard before, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. She's safe, and it looks like everybody else in the area is safe. We did see, and you saw when we were watching WHDH, those ambulances that came through here. I looked in the back of one of the ambulances and did not see anybody in that ambulance. There was another ambulance ahead of it that I didn't get a chance to look inside. But those two ambulances did not race out of here. And if there was somebody in there, they definitely would have been racing out of here to go to an area hospital. So, Mara, it is from a chaotic scene to a much more calm scene now. The streets are closed. The officers have set up perimeter locations in at least 3 spots that I can see here. And if we were to be able to get further up the street, we might be able to get a better view of what took place up there. But obviously, just as we saw in downtown Boston after the bombing, that area will be closed off, and it will be considered a crime scene and likely for some time, especially in the dark where it's a lot harder to find items that are there.
And, Carrie, have you heard any reports of injuries or fatalities?
The only fatality that I can confirm is the one that we've already spoken about, and that's the MIT police officer who was shot multiple times and was reported dead when they rushed him to the hospital.
And do we have any idea if there's any connection between the shooting at MIT and the violence that's happening now at Watertown?
Yeah, the only thing that I can tell you is that the contingent of officers who have been involved with dealing with what took place after the marathon and what the officers who are here are all part of the various police departments and the FBI that have been participating in that investigation. And remember, now the officers are pushing us back even further now. They released the photographs at a news conference today, and when they released those police photographs that were taken from security cameras, they urged the public to look at those pictures and to call the FBI and to provide whatever information. So, this could be completely disconnected, but, there seems to be a line that you might want to draw here to say that from the release of those pictures to the public viewing them to the number of calls that the FBI said they did indeed get, and they got lots of calls, that there may have been some sort of information that led them. Why there was the initial disturbance on the MIT campus that the police officer responded to, we don't know.